Hi, Cultivating Literacy families. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about a comprehension strategy called retelling. Retelling is when you or your child retells the events that have occurred in a story, and you retell those in order. Retelling is a great way to check in to make sure that your child is understanding what's happening in the story. When children are first getting started learning how to read, they're oftentimes focusing on the letters and their sounds and how they work together to create simple words. However, it's very important that you focus on helping your child build a strong foundation in understanding what they're reading. We read to learn, and as children get older, the focus of their reading will be about learning new concepts. We want to foster that strong foundation right away, even before your child starts reading, by reading aloud to them so that they are used to hearing the structure of a story. And as they begin reading, we also want to encourage them to understand what they're reading and to foster that. One strategy to check in to help your child gauge whether or not they're understanding what's going on in the story, or to help you understand where they're at with whether or not they're understanding the story, is the retelling strategy. When you're using the retelling strategy, you're asking your child to retell the events that occurred in the story from beginning, middle to end. If you're using a picture book, it's oftentimes very helpful to use the pictures to help guide the retelling, just as a way to give clues or for your child to expand upon what they're sharing. Sometimes there can be a lot of events in a story, and it can be hard for your child to remember. Using the pictures at times can be very helpful. I'm going to model this to you now. This story right here, Pete the Cat and the Missing Cupcakes, is all about a cat whose cupcakes get taken. And he's looking and he's looking and he's looking. And one by one, those cupcakes get taken away. So while you are reading this story together, and after you read, you can ask your child to tell you what's happened in the beginning of the story and then what's happening now. So let's pretend that we have read past the beginning of the story where we've made the cupcakes. And now there's 10, and now one is gone, but who has taken it? And they find crumbs, and Squirrel says it wasn't him. Let's say that you've gotten to this part of the story, and you want to check in to make sure your child is understanding what's happened leading up to this point. You might say, what's been happening in this story? What happened at the very beginning of the story that was really important? Let's look back. We started the story by making cupcakes. We had 10, but now all of a sudden one is missing. Now we've learned that it wasn't Squirrel. Just then, we walked back through the book and kind of recapped what has occurred. That's retelling. When you're retelling, you're telling the events in order from beginning, middle to end. The goal of that is to make sure that your child knows what's going on. If they don't, that's a great time to intervene and help repair that and talk about the story together. Pictures can be a great way to foster discussion. So if your child were to say, actually I'm not sure what happened in the beginning. I was really excited and I didn't quite hear it. You might say, oh look, what do you see here? How many cupcakes are there? Well, we started with 10 and now there is 9. After you read through the story, which I'll just give you a little sneak peek, they spy clues, and then in the end they finally find their culprit after all their friends have helped them. You might say to the child, can you tell me what happened at the beginning of the story again? And you can open the book back up and they can walk you through it. They made cupcakes and then some went missing. Well, what happened next? Pete talked to his friends, and many of his friends said they didn't take the cupcakes. And then you might say, what happened last? And that's when your child can tell you the final event that occurred in the story. Retelling is like having a conversation where you're guiding your child through telling you what happened in the beginning, middle, and end. You don't want to spend too much time having them tell you everything that happened in the story, so you don't have to have every single page of details, but you can get large chunks of details. Instead of telling you every single friend that Pete the Cat talked to, I could just say that he talked to his friends, and then finally, they helped him find who took the cupcakes. So, Working on the retelling strategy together can be fun when you're making it like a conversation and you're using the pictures, as well as just engaging your child in the act of storytelling. Retelling is a great way to check in with your child and to show them the importance of checking back to make sure that they know what they're reading or listening to, and fostering an importance for understanding what they are reading or what is being read to them. I hope the retelling strategy was helpful. Happy learning.